Everyone, my name is Dave Shumlich, and I am very pleased to be bringing you a topic that I am personally very passionate about. And you may have guessed it, that topic is business process mapping. So the purpose of this specific presentation is to describe in detail really what business process mapping is, as well as present a sample diagram of a business process. For key topics, we're going to cover 4 items. The first is, what is a business process? Take a deeper look at that, followed by some common business process terminology. Share a few items on that topic, as well as understand and discuss what is the value of mapping a business process. And finally, to share a sample of a process diagram. And that'll be an interesting example because it's related to a application for a mortgage. All right, so next let's take a closer look exactly as to what is a business process. And so a business process is essentially a collection of interrelated tasks, and usually these are initiated in response to some sort of a triggering event, which achieves a specific result for the customer and other stakeholders of the process. And then keep in mind or remember that a process is outcome oriented. It is for a customer and has stakeholders. It always has a trigger event associated with it. And a process is usually a collection of similar activities or interrelated tasks, and it is not a function. Okay, so here are some common business process terms that I wanted everyone to be aware of and familiar with. So the first up on the list is activities. Essentially, these are the blocks or represented as blocks on the process diagram that each have some sort of an operational characteristic of the system. And so one of these blocks, it shows that there's an action performed or some kind of an action performed on the entity that is flowing through the process map. Events, this is an instantaneous occurrence that may change the state of the system. And the example I have listed here is, again, for my sample process map I'll be sharing with you here in the coming slides, is a mortgage loan application from being submitted all the way through to being funded. And so on here as the example, we have loan application is submitted, loan application is approved, and then loan application is funded. Each of those events will change the state of the system. And then the third item is the process. So all of the activities and events that I previously mentioned are in a system. All right, so what is the value of mapping a business process? And so I've captured 4 key items here. The first is, once you map out a business process, you may be able to streamline it or make it more effective with less waste, therefore enabling you to deliver a product or service to the customer quicker than your competitors are able to. And so that might create a competitive advantage for your business. The second item is, it's useful because it identifies a process owner. And so the process owner is usually a senior level manager or someone that has higher level authority within an organization and has overall responsibility for the process and its performance. Third, it enables the process to be measured. So when you map a business process, you are able to establish a baseline of what it takes a product or service to flow through from beginning to end. And then once you identify that baseline, then you're able to potentially apply improvements to the process and measure it to see if it's actually increased or decreased the process flow time. So very beneficial. The fourth item on here is synchronizes process performers. And so this is useful because In some complex business processes, I have experienced that we've had as many as 15 people performing a similar or a supposedly similar process, and they were all doing it a little differently. And so, once you document or map a business process, it allows folks to perform the process in a similar manner or fashion by following it. And then it's also very useful in training new folks that come on board, and you can share with them, hey, this is the process and this is how you do it. So, very beneficial. All right. All right. So what we're seeing here is an example of a sample of a business process, and specifically, this is related to a mortgage loan application. And so there's 5 swim lanes associated with this. They're the different resources that are associated with the mortgage loan process. And so those are customer, mortgage loan originator, loan processor, underwriter, and loan closer. So the process or the trigger event is the customer submits a web-based loan application for a mortgage. It then flows down into the mortgage loan originator swim lane, and they receive the loan. They perform a credit check. They determine or make a decision, is it good credit or bad credit? If it's bad credit, then they essentially provide guidance on how to improve the credit and communicate that back to the customer, and the loan is essentially denied at that time. So it flows right from there into the completion or step number 13. If the credit is determined to be good for the loan applicant, then they review the loan and determine what income and asset documentation is required. They then submit that request to the customer, who provides that documentation and submits it back to the loan originator. It then flows down to the loan processor, and in that swim lane you'll see that they do an analysis or analyze the loan file and submit to the underwriter. The underwriter then performs a review of the loan file and makes a determination if the file is approved. If it's no, then it'll circle back. There's an iterative loop there, which may remain until they have the correct documentation. And then if it's yes, so the underwriter approves the loan, it then flows down into the loan closer swim lane, where they generate the final loan documentation as well as fund the loan, and then it flows up until the loan application is then complete and back up in the top or customer swim lane. That's my presentation. Thanks to all of you for listening. And if you have any questions, feel free to submit them to the thread associated with this. Thank you.